This is Planning the Curriculum, Chapter 4. We're going to be looking at some of the basic considerations and curriculum sources and principles of curriculum for this chapter. All of this information is going to guide us and provide us with a foundation to utilize when creating our lesson plans, our curriculum experiences for young children, particularly for preschool children. As we look through this information, we want to keep children ages 3, 4, and 5 in mind, because that's the age range we will be utilizing for our lesson plans. So some basic considerations in developing curricula for young children. Well, what you want to make sure you do is draw on different sources, okay? So the number one being is the individual child's characteristics. What is it that we know about the children? What are they interested in? What are they capable of doing? What do they want to do? We also want to be familiar with various disciplines. So we want to look at the different curriculum areas that we will be implementing with children. So you want to come with some foundation and knowledge of different curriculum areas, such as the language, math, science, arts, dramatic play, social emotional learning, as well as physical health, nutrition, and then cultural, have a cultural understanding. We also want to consider the parents' desires. As you know, many parents are going to emphasize and focus on the academics as a way of understanding how well their children are progressing. So it's our responsibility to accommodate the parents' desires while at the same time helping them have an understanding of how children learn at this particular age. We want to make sure that we plan curriculum that focuses on authentic learning experiences. And this is important. We want to make sure that we are providing children with what is real in their world as much as possible. And save the imitations or the replicas or images of things for times when we really cannot be as concrete as we want to be. But all of the abstract learning is going to come later in the child's school experiences. So we want to make things as authentic and real as possible, keeping it safe, but utilizing real materials. If they're learning about fruits and vegetables, introduce them to fruits and vegetables by allowing them to explore and taste and experiment with real fruits and vegetables. Save the pictures and the flashcards for later. But of course, if there is, you can't bring an elephant or a tiger to a classroom. So you find what is the next best way of helping children experience what those animals are like, and that is most authentic. So we just have to be creative. There's a lot of video resources that are made specifically for learning for young children. There are images that are more real than a cartoon image or coloring book image. So it's just how we select our materials that becomes an important factor in our curriculum. So with curriculum, you also want to make sure that you are prepared. What are you bringing to the table? When it's time to sit down and create curriculum for young children, how do you determine what you need to know? So number one is research. We don't expect you to have all this information in your head already. We want you to learn how to rely on information that is research-based, that's already been studied and provided for us, so we know that the information is somewhat valid based on basic research principles. You need to come to the table with an understanding of DAP, developmentally appropriate practices, understanding of the areas of development, the different domains, physical, social, emotional, and cognitive. What are best practices according to NAEYC, the National Association for the Education of Young Children? have best practices that are standards in our field of early childhood education. You want to be familiar with children's characteristics. What are the ages and stages, or the milestones, or expectations of development for children at different ages? As mentioned on the previous slide, knowledge of various disciplines. So what are the curriculum areas? Not just knowing the name of the area, but when we talk about math for young children, what are some math concepts that preschoolers will be learning in their particular age range? Then there's all aspects of the lesson plan that you want to understand. So you may not ever use the lesson plan in the written form that you will learn it again in your career working with children, but it's the process of understanding those components and elements of a lesson plan that will make your curriculum development experience a lot more fluid and a lot more easy to implement on the spur of the moment versus having to really ponder and think and research and find ways of bringing your curriculum to life. It's going to become more easier for you. So the next area we're going to look at is curriculum planning.